This is someone I definitely want to talk about, a player who some people had as a first round pick when he got drafted, ends up being the first overall selection in the 5th round, Sam Howell, who played one game last year and looked okay in it. So we're going to talk about what we saw from him, the positives, the negatives, and then kind of the main question of this video that we're going to solve by the end of it is going to be, is he somebody that Washington should significantly consider to be their starting quarterback next year? Or do you go a different route? Or is it one of those, you maybe have him as an option, but you don't have him as your only option kind of thing? Well, let's get into it. So let's start off with this play. It's a relatively simple play, but you know what? Hey, for a young quarterback in your first start, the simple plays are sometimes the most difficult. So you see the play concept and what's happening here. It's really going to be the route going over the middle that you're going to see Howell mostly look towards. It's one that hopefully it will get into a gap in coverage, and that's when you can make the throw. Look, right when this play begins, you're going to see that a linebacker here for Dallas is going to kind of pass off the player who he's covering, assuming he has help on the other side. Probably shouldn't be doing this, probably should be sticking with him, but you're going to see Washington take advantage, especially when this is Terry McLaurin who is running this route, the superstar wide receiver that they have. But what I like from Howell is, if you look at him before I even show the throw, he's already in the throwing motion. And this is kind of one of the things that always stood out with Howell, is no matter what the negatives were when he was in college, it always felt like he just found ways to get the ball down the field. Here's with his timing as he's able to flip the ball to McLaurin, and they're able to get the ball into the end zone. So again, is this the most difficult of plays? No, it is not. This is certainly not the most difficult of plays. But like I said, the simple stuff for a young quarterback can often be the most difficult. It's nice to see that he's still succeeding. Something like this is another interesting example where it's going to be, I'm not even going to break down the play concept itself because that's not the important part. The important part is going to be what happened. Watch as Howell takes the snap. He runs a play action, is going to scramble out towards the top of the screen. And at this point, the 4 eligible receivers who were on that side of the field, there was also with a play action, the halfbacks further towards the bottom of the screen as well. But at this point, there's pressure coming towards Howell. Nothing is really open. What do you do in this situation? Again, if it's Patrick Mahomes, if he does anything but throw the ball away, I'm saying what a blunder by Patrick Mahomes. But the reality is, my expectations are different depending on the situation. This is a guy making his first NFL start, and him trying to do too much is something you would almost expect. But not here, though. He does throw the ball away. That's good stuff from Howell, I think, to be able to just, again, do the simple stuff. Do the things that are obvious. Do the things that are easy. That's what you want to see out of a young quarterback, and that's what you would see out of Sam Howell. Another thing I was fascinated by looking at would be his running ability. And we're going to kind of see that right here, where it's going to be a designed, you can run a play action. He's going to roll out towards the top of the screen, and you see how this play could work. Really seems like the idea is to flip it to a tight end here. Look at how when Howell runs this play action, he's going to go a little bit further towards the top of the screen, and now notices that there's a running lane. I'm not sure if this was designed all the way. I'm not in the huddle. I can only say what I can say, but it looks like it might have been a designed run all the way, or perhaps it was just him scrambling. But you see how, and you don't think that he should be a big scrambler. You think, okay, maybe that's a part of his game here and there, but it was a massive part of his game in college, and part of why I think he fell so much in the draft was because people were concerned about how well could he do at this kind of thing. Sure, it works when you're the best athlete on the field, and even then, that was debatable in college, but now when you're playing against the best athletes in the world, will you be able to pull it off? Well, here I say he does a pretty good job. He slides here. Again, in college, he did a lot of trying to run over people as well, which in the NFL, you certainly can't do. You're not going to last long if you're taking those kind of hits, but here does a good job of just getting what he can. Now, it was not a perfect day from Howell against Dallas. There were some negatives, I think it's fair to say. This was a negative, I'm not exactly sure what he was doing here, where, you can see how this play can work on paper, right? The route could get open in a gap in coverage towards the back of the end zone. It's against zone coverage here, so okay. On paper, there's a chance it can work. However, when Howell takes the snap, he again runs a play action, looks down the field. I'm assuming he just never saw the Dallas player who's in front of the receiver he's throwing it to. That just must be the case. But even with that, Trayvon Diggs is in a situation where he can get over there as well. This is just too dangerous of a throw to make, and maybe one of those, you have to make this throw in the NFL to realize you can't make this throw in the NFL. You see a lot of rookies struggle with kind of figuring out what you can get away with and what you can't get away with. It's, again, all rookies do this to some degree. All rookies, I'm sure, Tom Brady did it as a rookie. Peyton Manning certainly did it as a rookie. Patrick Mahomes, we didn't see him much as a rookie. He's kind of an exception. His first year was awesome. But typically, guys make this mistake when they're younger. Even Mahomes would make this mistake at times. So it's just something that you kind of got to get out of your system. However, as you see, he does throw this ball, and it was a bad decision. And again, he wasn't making a ton of these bad mistakes, I thought, from what I saw from him. And again, I watched every preseason game as well. I've made film studies on them. If you want to check those out, they're on this channel of his preseason performances. But here in the NFL, it was a mistake, but not something I saw too frequently, I think it's fair to say. Also, this play is an interesting one. So what's going to happen here is it's going to be a zone coverage play. Again, just trying to get a gap in coverage. Simple enough. Watch. Howell takes the snap, and you're going to see that right here, there's a window. And here's the interesting thing about this play and why I wanted to show it is a lot of times these plays are not necessarily about getting a completion, right? There's more to it than that. Because if you get a completion, honestly, you should get a completion. If you're going to be in the NFL, you got to get a completion on this play. But what can sometimes separate the okay quarterbacks from the good ones is not necessarily just getting the completion, but putting it in a position where your receiver can continue running at a top speed and pick up as many yards as possible after the catch. Give them an opportunity to get some yards after the catch. Everyone views yards after the catch as just something that, is sort of luck from a quarterback's perspective, but it's not. There's a reason why certain quarterbacks, receivers, will get more yards after the catch. Like, that is something that does happen. As you see, look at that throw was perfect to allow his receiver to pick up a ton of yards after the catch. Listen, does he get credit for all of that? No, but the reality is, Jahan Dotson on that play, he gave Jahan Dotson a chance to make that play, and that's all you want, is put your players in positions to succeed, make things easier on your wide receivers, and that's what Sam Howell was able to do. Sam Howell, I think, has shown that his running ability is something that he can get away with at the NFL level. He showed it in preseason, and he showed it through one game. I think he's shown he's a good decision maker, and to be honest, kind of the way I view it right now, it's unfortunate that they didn't get a full year of Sam Howell this season, and they kind of, almost wasted it in a sense, because now we just don't know what to expect from Sam Howell. There were people who had Sam Howell as a first-round pick, as I said. I believe PFF said he should be a first-rounder, and he was their top quarterback on the board. There are things to like about Howell. There are negatives for Howell as well. That is also fair to say. He is not a perfect prospect. Of course, this goes without saying. The guy was a fifth-round pick for a reason. There are obviously going to be some issues with the fact, with what he did poorly. He takes a lot of sacks. Really, he kind of mostly just goes and tries to be a runner a lot of times. That's what we saw from him. And again, sometimes struggled to give up on plays. But so far at the NFL, his biggest issues, we haven't really seen that much, and he is so young, he can continue to improve and get better. Listen, who knows of quarterbacks, right? They're such a wild card. I just think the question is, what do you do with this? I don't think he's shown enough in the NFL to say, okay, let's just give him a year, that's it, unless you just don't like any other option that you see. I do think that it's fair to look, what's behind door number 2, try to see what else you can get. But I also don't think it's a terrible situation to say, okay, you know what, Sam Howell's our guy. Let's go out. Let's find someone else who maybe has let's take a flyer on sign Jameis Winston to be a backup, have Howell start. If Howell starts struggling, maybe Jameis Winston finally puts it all together in year 8. I don't know. But just an example. That's just an example. But, get a plan B, I think would be my way I look at it. Or maybe Sam Howell even will be your plan B. I don't think he's shown enough to just be, your plan. I think you need a plan A and plan B with Howell. But if you do have a plan A and plan B, he's not the worst plan A to have. That's just kind of the way I view it. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.